Have you ever stopped to think about what the wizarding world would be like without that girl with disheveled blonde hair, dreamy eyes, and radish earrings? Luna Lovegood is, without a doubt, one of the most enigmatic and fascinating characters in the Harry Potter universe. She sees the world in a way no one else can, believes in the impossible, and even though she's considered odd by many, possesses a quiet courage that saved lives and changed destinies. But who really is Luna Lovegood? Where did she come from? What made her so special? Get ready, because today we're going to dive deeply into the life of this extraordinary witch, from her birth to her future after the final battle. This is the complete story of Luna Lovegood, and I guarantee you'll never look at her the same way again. Before we continue, I need your support. If you're enjoying this content and want to see more complete and detailed stories about the magical universe, subscribe to the channel now. Activate the bell so you don't miss any new videos, and tell me here in the comments, which city are you watching from? I want to know where the true Harry Potter fans are. Now yes, let's begin this magical journey through Luna Lovegood's life. Luna Lovegood was born on February 13th, 1981, daughter of Xenophilius Lovegood and Pandora Lovegood. Her full name is Luna Lovegood, and from her first day of life, she was already destined to be different. Her father, Xenophilius, was the editor of a rather peculiar magazine called The Quibbler, a publication that most wizards considered absurd, full of conspiracy theories and creatures that supposedly didn't exist. Her mother, Pandora, was an extremely talented and curious witch, always experimenting with new spells and exploring the limits of magic. The Lovegood family lived in a very unusual house, located near the village of Ottery St. Catchpole in Devon, the same region where the Weasley family lived. The Lovegood house was described as a large black tower that looked like a chess castle, a cylinder with several irregularly placed windows. It was the type of construction that drew attention, just like everything related to the Lovegoods. Inside this peculiar tower, Luna spent the first 9 years of her life surrounded by love, magic, and many, many different ideas. Luna's childhood was marked by moments of pure happiness alongside her parents. Xenophilius loved sharing his theories with his daughter, telling stories about crumple-horned snorkax, aquavirius maggots, and other creatures he believed existed, but which the wizarding world insisted on denying. Luna absorbed everything with her wide eyes, believing every word. Her mother, on the other hand, encouraged her creativity and magical curiosity, allowing Luna to observe her experiments and learn from a very early age about the power and dangers of magic. But Luna's life would change drastically when she was only 9 years old. In 1990, Pandora Lovegood was working on a particularly complex magical experiment in their own home. Pandora had the habit of testing new spells and exploring experimental magic, always seeking to expand the boundaries of magical knowledge. However, this time, something went terribly wrong. One of the spells Pandora was testing got out of control and exploded right in front of Luna. The 9-year-old girl watched her own mother die before her eyes in a tragic and sudden magical accident. Pandora's death left deep scars on Luna, but in a different way than one might expect. The experience of witnessing death made Luna develop an early and profound understanding of mortality. She became able to see thestrals, those winged magical creatures that can only be seen by people who have witnessed and understood death. This traumatic event also contributed to shaping Luna's unique personality. She learned to value life in a different way, not to be afraid of being who she really was, and to believe that her mother continued to exist somehow, somewhere. After Pandora's death, Luna and Xenophilius became even closer. Her father dedicated himself to raising his daughter alone, continuing his work at the Quibbler and sharing his beliefs and theories with Luna. He never tried to make Luna fit into the normal patterns of wizarding society. On the contrary, he encouraged her individuality, her creativity, and her ability to think differently. Xenophilius taught Luna to question what everyone accepted as truth, to seek answers beyond the obvious, and to never be ashamed of believing in the impossible. During the following years, Luna developed various habits and characteristics that would make her famous at Hogwarts. She used to wear earrings made of radishes, believed in creatures no one else believed in, and had a very peculiar way of seeing the world. But all of this wasn't just eccentricity. It was Luna's way of dealing with her pain, honoring her mother's memory, and keeping alive the scientific curiosity Pandora had. For Luna, wearing radish earrings or believing in Snorkax wasn't madness. It was keeping her mind open to possibilities others dismissed too quickly. On September 1st, 1992, at 11 years old, Luna Lovegood finally received her Hogwarts letter. It was the moment Xenophilius had anxiously awaited, seeing his daughter follow her mother's magical footsteps. Luna travelled for the first time on the Hogwarts Express, that iconic red train that departed from platform 9 3/4 at King's Cross Station. We can imagine Luna looking out the train window with her dreamy eyes, watching the English landscape pass by as she headed to the most famous school of magic in the world. When she arrived at Hogwarts, Luna went through the traditional sorting ceremony. The sorting hat was placed on her dishevelled blonde head, and after a few moments of deliberation announced Ravenclaw, Luna was selected for the house known for valuing intelligence, wisdom, creativity, and learning. And indeed, despite her dreamy nature and unusual beliefs, Luna was extraordinarily intelligent. She had a brilliant mind that worked in ways few could understand, making connections others didn't see, and questioning truths everyone accepted without thinking. However, Luna's life in Ravenclaw wasn't easy. From her first year, her housemates began mocking her. They found her beliefs ridiculous, her behavior strange, and her appearance eccentric. Luna was constantly a target of bullying from her own Ravenclaw classmates. They hid her things, stole her belongings, made mean comments, and socially isolated her. The Ravenclaw girls used to take Luna's shoes and other personal objects and hide them, forcing her to put up posters asking for them to be returned. Despite all this cruel treatment, Luna never reacted with anger or bitterness. She simply accepted others' behavior with disconcerting calmness, continuing to be exactly who she was. Luna had developed impressive emotional resilience, probably strengthened by the loss of her mother. She knew who she was and didn't allow others' opinions to change her. Instead of trying to fit in or take revenge on those who mistreated her, Luna simply existed in her own world, maintaining her kindness and her unique vision of reality. During her first years at Hogwarts, Luna didn't have many close friends. She was solitary, not by choice, but by circumstance. Her Ravenclaw classmates avoided her, and students from other houses considered her too strange to approach. Luna spent a lot of time alone, reading the Quibbler upside down, believing this way she absorbed information better, exploring Hogwarts grounds and observing the world with her dreamy eyes. But Luna never seemed to feel truly alone. She had an inner peace that few people managed to achieve, a self-acceptance that was truly admirable. Everything began to change for Luna in her third year, during the 1994-1995 school year. It was in this year that Harry Potter returned from a traumatic summer after witnessing Lord Voldemort's resurrection. Harry was dealing with terrible nightmares. The wizarding world's disbelief about the Dark Lord's return and the smear campaign by the Ministry of Magic and the Daily Prophet against him. In this troubled context, Luna and Harry finally met in a significant way. At the beginning of the 1995 school year, during the return journey to Hogwarts on the Express, Luna found Harry, Ron, Hermione, Ginny, and Neville in a compartment. This was the first real meeting between Luna and the group that would become her first true friends. Luna was reading the Quibbler upside down, as was her custom, and wore her characteristic radish earrings. Hermione, always skeptical and practical, was visibly uncomfortable with Luna, considering her even stranger than she had imagined. Ron also didn't quite know how to react to the peculiar girl, but Harry felt different. Harry noticed something in Luna that the others didn't immediately see. When they arrived at Hogwarts during the start of term feast, something significant happened. The carriages that took students from the station to the castle were pulled by creatures most students couldn't see. But Harry, who had witnessed Cedric Diggory's death at the end of the previous year, could finally see these creatures, Thestrals. He was disturbed and confused, thinking he was going crazy for seeing skeletal and sinister horses where he had seen nothing before. It was Luna who comforted Harry. She calmly explained that those creatures were Thestrals, which could only be seen by people who had witnessed death and understood its meaning. Luna revealed that she could also see them since she was 9 years old when her mother died. This conversation created an instant bond between Harry and Luna. Both shared the experience of having witnessed death, both felt misunderstood by the world around them, and both knew what it was like to see things others couldn't see. For Harry, who was feeling isolated and questioning his own sanity, Luna's calm words were a balm. During that year, the situation at Hogwarts was particularly tense. The Ministry of Magic, under Cornelius Fudge's leadership, refused to believe Voldemort had returned. To ensure Dumbledore and Harry didn't spread what they called lies, the Ministry appointed Dolores Umbridge as defense against the dark arts teacher and, later, as High Inquisitor of Hogwarts. Umbridge was a cruel, authoritarian, and sadistic woman who began implementing increasingly restrictive educational decrees, transforming Hogwarts into a true dictatorship. Umbridge refused to teach practical magic to students, insisting they only read theory, because the ministry didn't want students to learn to truly defend themselves. It was in this context that Hermione had the idea of forming a secret group of students who would learn defense against the dark arts with Harry Potter, who had real experience facing dark magic. This group would become known as Dumbledore's Army. Luna was one of the first people to be interested in the group. When Hermione organized the first meeting at the Hog's Head, a suspicious pub in Hogsmeade, Luna was there. She was one of the few people who believed Harry from the start, without questioning his story about Voldemort's return. While others hesitated or doubted, Luna simply accepted Harry's words as truth. For her, who had always believed in things no one else believed in, believing in Harry was natural and logical. Luna became a dedicated member of Dumbledore's army. She attended all the secret meetings in the Room of Requirement, practiced spells enthusiastically, and demonstrated surprising aptitude for defensive magic. Despite her dreamy nature, Luna was extremely competent when it came to practical magic. She managed to master several complex spells, including the Patronus, which is considered one of the most difficult and advanced spells there is. Luna's Patronus took the form of a hare, an animal that represents sensitivity, intuition, and the ability to see beyond the obvious. It was perfectly suitable for Luna, who saw the world in a way no one else could. Luna's ability to conjure a corporeal Patronus demonstrated not only her magical ability, but also the strength of her positive emotions and happy memories, despite all the difficulties she had faced in her life. During that year, Luna finally found what had been missing in her school life: true friendship. Harry, Ron, Hermione, Ginny, and Neville began to accept Luna as part of the group. Although Hermione still occasionally became exasperated with Luna's beliefs about improbable creatures, she respected the Ravenclaw girl's intelligence and kindness. Ron learned to appreciate Luna's brutal honesty and unique perspective. And Harry developed a special affection for her, recognizing in her an equally marked but incredibly resilient soul. Luna had a very particular way of communicating. She spoke calmly, serenely, and often said uncomfortable truths with disconcerting innocence. She didn't have a social filter the way most people did, so she simply said what she thought, without malice or intention to hurt, but with sometimes brutal honesty. This characteristic could be disconcerting, but it was also refreshing. In a world full of lies, manipulations, and half-truths, Luna was a beacon of absolute sincerity. At the end of that school year, an event occurred that would change everything. Harry had a vision, implanted by Voldemort, that Sirius Black was being tortured in the Department of Mysteries at the Ministry of Magic. Desperate to save his godfather, Harry decided to go there, and some members of Dumbledore's army volunteered to accompany him. Luna was one of those people. Along with Harry, Ron, Hermione, Ginny, and Neville, she travelled to London using thestrals that only she and Harry could see. The Battle of the Department of Mysteries was the first time Luna truly faced dark forces for real. There, the group of 6 students found themselves cornered by Death Eaters, Voldemort's followers. They were teenagers facing adult wizards experienced in dark magic. The situation was desperate. During the chaotic battle, Luna fought with surprising courage. She cast spells, helped her friends, and remained remarkably calm even amid mortal danger. At a certain point in the battle, Luna was hit by a spell from a Death Eater and was knocked out. She fell unconscious on the Department of Mysteries floor, and her friends feared the worst. Fortunately, members of the Order of the Phoenix arrived in time to turn the tide of the battle. After the confrontation, Luna was taken to Hogwarts Hospital Wing along with her injured friends. She had survived her first real battle, and this experience only strengthened her resolve and loyalty to her friends. The summer after 5th year was significant for Luna. She spent the holidays with her father Xenophilius at the peculiar Tower House. It was during this period that Luna truly reflected on everything that had happened, on the friendships she had formed, and on the war that was approaching. For the first time in her life, Luna had true friends who accepted her as she was, and she was determined to stand by their side, no matter what came next. When Luna returned for her 4th year at Hogwarts in September 1996, she found a very different school. The atmosphere was grim and tense. Voldemort had revealed himself publicly, the Ministry had finally admitted his return, and the wizarding world was in a state of panic. But Luna remained Luna, with her radish earrings, her peculiar beliefs, and her unshakable calm. For many frightened students, Luna's serene presence was comforting. During her 4th year, Luna continued to demonstrate her unique nature and intelligence. Although many still considered her strange, she had gained some respect for her participation in the Battle of the Department of Mysteries. Students began to realize there was more to Luna Lovegood than it seemed. She wasn't just the odd Ravenclaw girl. She was a brave witch who had faced Death Eaters and survived. Luna also became Quidditch commentator that year, a position traditionally occupied by Lee Jordan. Her narration of the games was absolutely unique, often digressing about subjects completely unrelated to the game, commenting on the pretty colors of the players' robes, or about creatures she believed she was seeing in the stands. While some were frustrated with her unconventional style, others found her narrations hilarious and charming. It was typically Luna, transforming something ordinary into something memorable. At the end of that year, another traumatic event occurred. Dumbledore was killed by Severus Snape at the top of the Astronomy Tower. The Battle of the Astronomy Tower involved Death Eaters invading Hogwarts, and once again, Luna demonstrated her courage. She was among the members of Dumbledore's army who fought against the invaders, defending the castle and her fellow students. Despite the fear she certainly felt, Luna remained by her friend's side, casting spells and doing everything in her power to protect Hogwarts. Dumbledore's death shook the entire magical community, and Luna felt the loss deeply. Dumbledore had always been one of the few adults at Hogwarts who had never judged or ridiculed her. He appreciated her uniqueness, just as he appreciated the uniqueness of all his students. At Dumbledore's funeral, Luna was present, paying her last respects to the greatest wizard of her time. The summer of 1997 was particularly important for Luna. During the holidays, she developed a deeper friendship with Harry, Ron, and Hermione. She was invited to Bill Weasley and Fleur Delacour's wedding, which took place at the Burrow, the Weasleys' home. This was a happy moment amid increasingly dark times. Luna attended the wedding, wearing colorful and peculiar robes, as was her style, and danced joyfully during the celebration. But the happiness was interrupted when Death Eaters attacked the wedding after the Ministry of Magic had fallen under Voldemort's control. Luna managed to escape the attack, but the wizarding world had changed dramatically. Voldemort now controlled the government, and Muggle-born wizards were being persecuted. Severus Snape became headmaster of Hogwarts, and Amicus Carrow and Alecto Carrow, two cruel Death Eaters, were appointed teachers and deputy heads. Despite the dangers, Luna returned to Hogwarts for her fifth and final year in September 1997. She knew it would be dangerous, that the school was now under the control of dark forces, but Luna was never a coward. She returned because it was what should be done, because her friends needed her, and because she wasn't going to let fear control her. Harry, Ron, and Hermione didn't return to Hogwarts that year, as they were on a secret mission to destroy Voldemort's Horcruxes. At Hogwarts, conditions were terrible under the Carrows and Snape's regime. The Carrows taught dark arts instead of defense against the dark arts, and implemented cruel punishments on students. Muggle-born students were particularly mistreated. It was in this hostile environment that Luna, along with Neville Longbottom and Ginny Weasley, decided to reactivate Dumbledore's army. They became leaders of a secret student resistance inside Hogwarts. The new Dumbledore's army worked to protect younger students from the Carrows, sabotage oppressive rules, and keep alive the hope that Voldemort would be defeated. Luna participated in risky missions, helped hide students who were being sought, and resisted in every possible way. In a particularly daring act of rebellion, Luna, Neville, and Ginny tried to steal Gryffindor's sword from Snape's office, believing Harry might need it. They were caught, but the attempt demonstrated the extraordinary courage and determination of these three students. As punishment for their resistance activities, the Carrows implemented severe punishments for Luna and her friends. But they continued fighting, refusing to submit to the regime of terror. Luna became an inspiration for many younger students, showing it was possible to maintain kindness, hope, and humanity, even in the darkest circumstances. During the Christmas holidays of 1997, Luna returned home to visit her father. But what should have been a joyful reunion became a nightmare. Death Eaters appeared at the Lovegood's tower house and kidnapped Luna. They took her as a hostage and imprisoned her in Malfoy Manor, the headquarters of Death Eater operations in England. The Death Eaters knew Luna was friends with Harry Potter and planned to use her as bait or bargaining chip. Luna was kept prisoner in Malfoy Manor's dungeons along with other prisoners, including Ollivander, the Wandmaker, and Griphook, a goblin from Gringotts. Conditions were terrible, dark, cold, and hopeless. The prisoners could hear occasional screams of people being tortured on the upper floors. It was a traumatic experience that would break most people. But Luna, with her characteristic resilience, found strength to remain intact. During her imprisonment, Luna did something extraordinary. She painted a mural on the ceiling of her cell, a mural that portrayed the faces of her friends: Harry, Ron, Hermione, Ginny, and Neville. Between each face, she painted the word "Friends" in golden letters, creating a chain that connected them all. This mural wasn't just art, it was an act of hope, resistance, and love. It was Luna reminding herself and the other prisoners that there was beauty, friendship, and reasons to keep fighting even in the darkest place. During this period, she comforted Ollivander, who was very debilitated, and maintained conversations with Griphook. She never lost her essence, her kindness, or her humanity, even when imprisoned by dark forces. This ability to keep her inner light burning in the deepest darkness was one of Luna's most extraordinary qualities. In March 1998, more prisoners arrived at Malfoy Manor's dungeons: Harry Potter, Ron Weasley, Hermione Granger. They had been captured by Snatchers, wizards who searched for Muggle-borns and fugitives to hand them over to Death Eaters. When Harry, Ron, and Hermione descended to the dungeons, they found Luna there. The reunion was emotional and desperate at the same time. Luna was visibly relieved to see her friends, although their situation was equally terrible. On the upper floor, Bellatrix Lestrange began torturing Hermione, trying to discover how they had obtained the Sword of Gryffindor. Hermione's screams were anguishing for everyone in the dungeons. It was a moment of absolute despair. But then, surprisingly, Dobby, the house elf, appeared in the dungeons. He had been sent by Aberforth Dumbledore to rescue the prisoners. Dobby managed to apparate Luna and Ollivander out of the mansion on his first trip. Luna was taken to Shell Cottage, Bill and Fleur Weasley's house on the coast. Finally, she was free. After weeks of imprisonment in terrible conditions, Luna could breathe fresh air again, see the sky and the sea. But the rescue had a terrible cost. Dobby was killed by Bellatrix during the escape, a loss that deeply affected everyone involved, including Luna. After recovering at Shell Cottage, Luna returned to the fight. In May 1998, she received the summons. Harry Potter had returned to Hogwarts, and the final battle was approaching. Luna didn't hesitate. She returned to Hogwarts to participate in the Battle of Hogwarts, the definitive confrontation between the forces of light and the forces of darkness. During the Battle of Hogwarts, Luna fought with extraordinary courage. She was everywhere, helping the wounded, casting spells against Death Eaters, and protecting younger students. Luna actively participated in the castle's defense, using all the magic she had learned in her years of study. She saw friends fall, witnessed terrible destruction, and faced unimaginable horrors, but never stopped fighting. At a crucial moment in the battle, Luna, Hermione and Ginny faced Bellatrix Lestrange together. Bellatrix was one of the most dangerous dark witches alive, a cruel and skilled killer who had tortured and killed countless people. The duel was fierce and dangerous. The three young witches fought with everything they had, but Bellatrix was incredibly powerful. The situation was desperate, and it seemed one or all of them could be killed. That's when Molly Weasley intervened, pushing the three girls aside and taking over the duel with Bellatrix. Molly, fighting to protect her daughter and Ginny's friends, finally defeated and killed Bellatrix Lestrange. The battle continued for hours, with deaths and destruction on all sides. Luna saw people she knew and loved die. Fred Weasley, Lupin, Tonks, Colin Creevey and many others lost their lives that terrible night. But finally, when all seemed lost, Harry Potter faced Voldemort in a final duel in the Great Hall. Everyone watched as the two wizards faced each other, and then the impossible happened. Voldemort's spell rebounded, and he was finally defeated, destroyed by his own curse. The war was over. Voldemort was dead. After years of fear, fighting and suffering, peace had finally returned to the wizarding world. Luna was exhausted, injured, and emotionally devastated by the losses, but she had survived. She had fought alongside her friends in one of the most important battles in wizarding history, and they had won. In the days following the battle, Hogwarts began the long process of mourning and reconstruction. Luna participated in the victims' funerals, honoring those who had given their lives for the cause. She cried for those who were gone, but also celebrated the victory they had achieved together. The magical community was traumatized, but there was hope again. The nightmare was over. After the battle, Luna returned home with her father, Xenophilius. The relationship between them had been complicated after Xenophilius had tried to betray Harry, Ron, and Hermione to the Death Eaters in a desperate attempt to recover Luna when she was a prisoner. He had acted out of love and desperation, trying to save his daughter at any cost, even if it meant betraying the people she loved most. But Luna, with her understanding and forgiving nature, never blamed her father. She understood he had acted out of love, and that love sometimes makes people commit terrible mistakes. With the war over, Luna had to decide what to do with her life. She was only 17 years old, but had lived experiences most people would never live in a whole lifetime. She had faced death, fought in battles, been imprisoned and tortured, and witnessed unimaginable horrors. But Luna didn't allow these experiences to embitter or destroy her. Instead, she decided to follow her own unique path, as she had always done. Luna decided not to return to Hogwarts to complete her 7th year. Many students who had participated in the battle made the same choice, feeling they had already learned more about magic and about life than any classroom could teach. Instead, Luna decided to pursue her true passion, magizoology, the study of magical creatures. But not just any kind of magizoology. Luna was particularly interested in creatures most wizards considered imaginary or improbable. Luna became a wizarding naturalist and magizoologist, following her mother's intellectual footsteps, but in her own unique way. She traveled the world in search of rare and supposedly non-existent creatures. Luna was determined to prove the existence of creatures like the crumple-horned snorkack, that elusive creature her father had written about for years in the Quibbler. She explored remote regions, from frozen mountains to tropical forests, always looking for evidence of creatures the mainstream wizarding world dismissed as myths or madness. It was during her years traveling and researching that Luna met Rolf Scamander. Rolf was the grandson of Newt Scamander, the famous magizoologist author of Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, the textbook used at Hogwarts. Rolf had inherited his grandfather's passion for magical creatures and dedicated his life to studying and conserving them. When Luna and Rolf met, it was as if two kindred spirits had finally found each other. Rolf didn't find Luna strange. He appreciated her open mind, her willingness to believe in the impossible, and her tireless dedication to searching for creatures others dismissed. They shared not only a professional passion, but also a compatible worldview. Rolf understood Luna in a way few could, and Luna found in Rolf someone who not only accepted her as she was, but loved exactly those qualities others considered strange. Luna and Rolf developed a deep relationship based on mutual respect, shared love for nature and magical creatures, and genuine compatibility. They traveled together, researched together, and dreamed together about discoveries they could make. For Luna, who had spent so much time being considered strange and isolated, finding someone who not only understood her, but shared her passions, was something truly special. Eventually, Luna and Rolf married. Their wedding was certainly a unique and memorable event, probably full of unusual elements and rare magical creatures. We can imagine Luna wearing colorful and unconventional wedding robes, with decorations that included live magical creatures and perhaps even some most guests couldn't see. Her Hogwarts friends were certainly present, celebrating Luna's happiness and witnessing her finding true love. Luna and Rolf had two children, twins they named Lorcan and Lysander. The choice of these names was typically unique and creative, reflecting Luna's unconventional nature. She raised her children the same way her father had raised her, with unconditional love, encouragement of individuality, and openness to possibilities others dismissed. Luna taught Lorcan and Lysander to question what everyone accepted as truth, to keep their minds open, and to never be ashamed of being who they really were. As a mother, Luna was loving, dedicated, and probably quite unorthodox. She took her children on her research expeditions whenever possible, exposing them from an early age to the world of magical creatures and the mysteries of nature. Lorcan and Lysander grew up in an environment rich in magic, imagination, and exploration, much like Luna's own childhood before her mother's death. Luna was determined to give her children the kind of magical and wonder-filled childhood she had experienced in the early years of her life. Luna never abandoned her beliefs and passions. She continued searching for rare and improbable creatures, always hoping to make the definitive discovery that would prove she and her father had been right all along. Although we don't know if she ever found a crumple-horned snorkack, it almost doesn't matter. The journey, the search, and the refusal to give up on her dreams were what truly defined Luna. Luna's career as a wizarding naturalist and magizoologist was respected by those working in the field, even though some still considered her theories about certain creatures somewhat eccentric. She published articles, contributed to knowledge about rare magical creatures, and helped in the conservation of endangered species. Luna brought to her profession the same open mind and creativity that had always characterized her, challenging orthodoxies and encouraging others to think beyond the conventional. Over the years, Luna maintained her friendship with Harry Potter and the others. She was considered a loyal and beloved friend by all who knew her well. Harry, in particular, always had a special affection for Luna. He admired her quiet courage, her brutal honesty, and her ability to see beauty and possibilities where others saw only darkness or impossibility. Luna had been one of the first people to believe in him when no one else did, and Harry never forgot that. Luna Lovegood's story is, in its essence, a story about authenticity. In a world that constantly pressures people to conform, to follow society's unwritten rules, and to hide the parts of themselves considered strange or unacceptable, Luna did something extraordinary. She simply was herself, without apologies, without shame, without trying to fit in. She wore her radish earrings, believed in improbable creatures, said uncomfortable truths, and remained true to herself, no matter the social cost. But Luna's authenticity wasn't just about eccentricity or unusual behavior. It was about deep integrity, a quiet courage to exist fully as she was, even when it meant loneliness, bullying, or misunderstanding. Luna taught everyone around her that being different isn't a weakness, but a strength, that staying true to your values and beliefs, even when they're unpopular, is a form of courage few possess. Luna also personified resilience in a unique way. She had suffered a devastating loss as a child, witnessing her own mother's death. She had been the target of constant bullying for years at Hogwarts. She had been imprisoned, held hostage in terrible conditions, and lived through a brutal war. But none of these experiences broke her. Instead, Luna transformed her pain into compassion, her loneliness into independence, and her suffering into strength. She emerged from each trial, still able to smile, to believe in goodness, and to see wonder in the world. Luna's kindness was another remarkable quality. Despite all the cruel treatment she had received from her Ravenclaw classmates, she never became bitter or cruel. She continued being kind, understanding, and willing to see the best in people. Luna didn't hold grudges, didn't seek revenge, and didn't allow others' negative actions to transform her into someone negative. Her kindness was unwavering, a constant in an often cruel world. Luna also represented the importance of an open mind. In a world where most people quickly dismiss ideas that don't fit their established worldviews, Luna maintained genuine openness to possibilities. She questioned orthodoxies, challenged assumptions, and was willing to believe in things she had no definitive proof of, simply because they were possible. This mental openness allowed her to see connections others missed and consider solutions others ignored. Luna's honesty was sometimes disconcerting, but always refreshing. She didn't lie, didn't manipulate, and didn't hide her true thoughts behind social conventions. Luna said what she thought, even when it was inconvenient or uncomfortable. This brutal honesty meant people always knew where they stood with Luna. There were no games, no hidden agendas, just pure and simple sincerity. Luna's courage was of the rarest kind. It wasn't loud and boastful, didn't brag or seek attention. It was quiet, constant, and unwavering. Luna faced Death Eaters, resisted torture, fought in battles, and risked her life repeatedly, all without seeking glory or recognition. She simply did what was right, because it was right, not because she expected reward or praise. This kind of quiet courage is perhaps the truest form of bravery. Luna also teaches us about the power of perspective. When Harry was tormented by seeing Thestrals and questioning his sanity, it was Luna who offered the perspective he needed. When others were trapped in conventional ways of thinking, Luna offered new angles and unexpected insights. Her unique way of seeing the world wasn't a deficiency, but a valuable capability that often revealed truths more conventional approaches missed. Luna Lovegood reminds us that strangeness is relative. What one person considers strange, another may consider wonderful. Luna's beliefs about improbable creatures were mocked by many, but she never let others' skepticism diminish her enthusiasm or her search. She understood something fundamental, that absence of evidence is not evidence of absence, and that just because something hasn't been proven doesn't mean it's impossible. Luna's loyalty was absolute. Once she considered someone a friend, she was willing to risk everything for that person. She went to the Department of Mysteries, knowing it was dangerous because Harry needed her. She fought in the Battle of Hogwarts, knowing she could die because her friends were fighting. Luna wasn't the type of friend who was only there in good times. She was there especially in difficult times, when true loyalty is tested. Luna also personified a unique form of wisdom. It wasn't the wisdom of books or academic learning, although she was certainly intelligent. It was deeper, more intuitive wisdom. Luna understood things about human nature, about life, and about what really matters in a way that went beyond conventional knowledge. Her observations, though often expressed in peculiar ways, contained deep truths that more conventional people often miss. Luna's influence on her friends was significant. Harry learned from her that he wasn't alone in seeing things others couldn't see. Hermione, always the rationalist, learned there's value in keeping an open mind to possibilities beyond the probable. Ron learned to appreciate different perspectives. Ginny found in Luna a friend who never judged her, and Neville found an equally undervalued ally who became a brave partner in resistance. Luna touched the life of each person who knew her well, leaving a lasting impression. Luna's relationship with death was also remarkable. She had witnessed her mother's death at 9 years old, a traumatic experience that marked her deeply. But instead of running from death or being consumed by fear, Luna developed a peaceful acceptance of mortality. She could see thestrals, these creatures that symbolized death, but didn't fear them. Luna understood that death was part of life, and this understanding gave her a peace many spend their whole lives seeking. Luna's creativity was evident in everything she did. The mural she painted in Malfoy Manor's dungeon was a testament to her creative and hopeful nature. Even in the darkest place, she found a way to create beauty and meaning. This creativity wasn't just artistic, it extended to her way of thinking, solving problems, and seeing the world. Luna constantly found new ways to approach situations and new angles to consider problems. Luna's independence was inspiring. She didn't need others' approval to feel valuable. She didn't change her beliefs or behavior to fit in or be popular. Luna was emotionally self-sufficient in a way many adults never managed to achieve. This independence didn't come from arrogance or indifference, but from deep security in who she was and the value of her own perspective. Luna also demonstrated remarkable empathy. Despite her own struggles and sufferings, she always had compassion for others. She comforted Harry when he was disturbed by thestrals. She offered kindness to Ollivander when they were prisoners together. Luna had an ability to connect emotionally with people, to offer exactly the kind of support they needed, even if in an unconventional way. Luna Lovegood's legacy is multifaceted. Professionally, she contributed to the field of magizoology, bringing new perspectives and challenging established assumptions. Personally, she created a loving family and passed forward her values of authenticity and open-mindedness to her children. And culturally, she became a symbol of individuality, of the courage to be different, and of the refusal to conform to oppressive social expectations. For those who knew her, Luna was a constant reminder that there's more to the world than what's immediately visible or widely accepted. She challenged people to question their assumptions, to consider possibilities beyond the obvious, and to value different perspectives, even when they seem strange. Luna represented the idea that diversity of thought isn't just acceptable, but valuable and necessary. Luna's story also speaks to us about overcoming. She could have let constant bullying make her bitter. She could have let her mother's death destroy her. She could have let imprisonment and torture break her. But Luna was stronger than all these things. She survived, grew, and kept her essence intact. This resilience didn't come from denial or suppression, but from genuine acceptance of life's difficulties combined with determination not to let those difficulties define who she was. Luna Lovegood teaches us that being different isn't something to be cured or overcome, but celebrated. That the qualities that make us unique are often the same ones that make us valuable. That courage doesn't need to roar. It can whisper and still be powerful. That kindness is a choice we make every day, regardless of how we're treated. That believing in possibilities, even improbable ones, keeps magic alive in an often cynical world. Luna's friendship with Harry Potter in particular represents something profound about human connections. Both were individuals who felt isolated and misunderstood. Both had experiences with death that separated them from their peers, and both were saved by friendship with each other. Harry found in Luna a person who didn't judge him, who believed in him unconditionally, and who offered perspectives that helped him process his own experiences. Luna found in Harry someone who valued and respected her when few did. Luna's life after the war represents the fulfillment of her dreams. She didn't seek fame, fortune, or power. She simply wanted to explore the world, study the creatures she loved, and live authentically. And that's exactly what she did. Luna created a life that reflected her values, her passions, and her unique nature. She proved that success doesn't need to look the same for everyone, that each person can define what a well-lived life means for them. Luna's relationship with her father, Xenophilius, remained complex but loving. Despite the terrible mistake he had made in trying to betray Harry and his friends, Luna understood her father had acted out of desperate love for her. She forgave him, keeping their relationship intact. This ability to forgive, to see beyond actions to underlying motivations, was another demonstration of Luna's empathy and emotional maturity. Luna's children, Lorcan and Lysander, grew up knowing they were unconditionally loved and could be who they truly were. Luna would never try to mold her children into something they weren't, just as her own father had never tried to change her. This tradition of accepting and celebrating individuality would likely continue through generations of the Scamander family, creating a lineage of wizards comfortable in their own skin and open to wonderful possibilities. Luna Lovegood remains, to this day, one of the most inspiring figures to emerge from the war against Voldemort. She wasn't the most powerful magically, wasn't the most famous, and didn't seek spotlights. But Luna had qualities that, in many ways, were more important than raw power or fame. She had integrity, authenticity, quiet courage, and unwavering kindness. These qualities made her a hero of a different kind, no less important than those fighting on the front lines. Luna's journey from a lonely and misunderstood girl at Hogwarts to a fulfilled, loved and respected woman is a story of triumph of the human spirit. It's a story about finding strength in difference, about transforming loneliness into independence, and about maintaining hope even in the darkest circumstances. Luna proved you don't need to change who you are to be valuable, to be loved, or to make a difference in the world. In the end, Luna Lovegood is a reminder that the world needs dreamers. It needs people who question, who believe in the impossible, and who refuse to accept conventional limitations. It needs people who see beyond the obvious, who keep their minds open to possibilities, and who have the courage to follow their own paths, even when those paths are unconventional. Luna represented all these things and more. Her story tells us it's okay to be different, that it's okay to believe in things others dismiss, that it's okay to see the world through unique lenses. Because it's exactly these differences that make life interesting, that drive innovation and discovery, and that remind us there's always more to learn and experience. Luna Lovegood lived this truth every day of her life, and in doing so, made the magical world a richer, more interesting and more welcoming place for all who dared to be different. This is the complete story of Luna Lovegood, a girl who lost her mother too young, who was misunderstood and mistreated for years, who fought in a terrible war, who was imprisoned and tortured, but who never lost her essence, her kindness, or her ability to see wonder in the world. A girl who grew to become a remarkable woman, a respected magizoologist, a loving wife, a dedicated mother, and above all, a person authentically herself. Luna Lovegood proved that sometimes being yourself is the bravest act of all. And so we come to the end of this journey through Luna Lovegood's extraordinary life. I hope you were as moved as I was in revisiting each moment of this incredible witch's story. If you enjoyed this content and want to continue exploring Harry Potter's magical universe with complete and detailed stories like this, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Click the subscribe button now, activate the notification bell so you don't miss any new videos, and leave your like if you enjoyed learning more about Luna. Tell me here in the comments, what moment in Luna's story impacted you most? And which character do you want me to tell the complete story of in the next video? Your opinion is very important. Thank you for watching until the end, and remember, just as Luna taught us, never be afraid to be who you really are. Until the next video, and may magic always be with you.